say that it feels right.
What's up, guys? It's the Blender, and we are back in another episode for the Oathbreaker Hexblade Paladin. We left off in the Underdark just before we get to the boat. We were headed to Grimforge. We're going to attempt to try and get to level 5 without too much combat. I think the hardest combat we have ahead of us is the magma methods and the animated constructs there at the Ancient Forge when I messed up and didn't bring the Susser flowers for those, right? In the future I'll do that for other runs. However, that should be most of what's on the docket today. Basically doing the first part of Grimforge. We do basically like 2 or 3 sections of Grimforge. We sort of like separate it out. We do basically like easy XP and getting some stuff, and then later we clear out and come back and like clear up any remaining XP for like level 6, I think, and then eventually we do the near fight. But yeah, so this isn't too bad because we have the boots and the brand. We can sort of just talk our way through this. We don't have to have this thing with dialogue options giving you all XP for these things. There's nothing really necessary to fight there. I used to think that the sword that he carries was only available there, but it's not, because you can buy it off of him. He's a trader. As long as he follows you on the boat, he becomes a trader, and you can just buy the sword and all the items off of him anyway. So no big there. To the left, when I was talking about like easy XP and stuff like that, to the left has some, but it can be a little difficult, right? Like killing those, the 2 guys before the invisible ring, can be a little difficult, every once in a while. We happen to have, I think I use fly here. If you don't have fly, you can get to this edge and use Misty Step and then feather fall back down. But you just sort of have to angle your camera up to go get there. We'll get the XP for the bridge discovery and then Protecting Spark Wall. Now, you don't need to get Protecting Spark Wall for this build, but in the event that you wanted to condition lock Protecting Spark Wall, which you can do, then you would want to have it. So I do try to get or showcase like grabbing as many things that exist in the game as possible, like if they're lootables, right? But some things we don't need per se for our build. Like I'll pick up the armor of
what do you think?
agility, in Act 3. He's not going to use it, right? It's a potential way you could use it. You build a character like this. But this one specifically doesn't do that. Similar to the Protecting Spark Wall, right? Not necessarily for this build unless you're condition locking, but you could on a spellcaster type character that was using the spell sparkler anyway. You would be absolutely over the top there, or maybe a rogue hybrid type thing that has like something with unarmored defense that's running lightning charges, right? Like I think I use Protecting Spark Wall on my monk until I get Cat's Grace. So like there's different options. Here we just basically talk to that guy, Stonemason Kith, and it doesn't matter whether if you make his checks, then he gives you the Infernal Iron. If you don't make his checks, you can buy the Infernal Iron. I think we bought it, or we should have bought it, so that we have it to have Daemon Forge, since we don't have to worry about Karlach in this run. We only need we only need like 3 pieces in order to get all the Flawed Helldust stuff in Act 2. And then, as long as you don't talk to Elder Brivthar, and you don't move into the center space to talk to Sergeant Thrin, then you will not trigger the near behind the rubble collapse, right? And the timer for it. If you do that and you go meet Sergeant Thrin and then you leave and do like a long rest or something like that, like the collapse will happen at some point, and then you're unable to do it. Although it's probably the easiest way to kill Nier, just let him die.
Open up.
But I think if the collapse happens, then the other dwarves take off, and then you can't save Barkus. And we definitely want Barkus. Barkus is mandatory to in the next act.
Steel mold.
We got 1 of 2 steel molds. This should be, I believe, this is the shield. We want the shield and the heavy armor. You could do the medium armor. The heavy armor and the medium armor, as long as you have high dexterity, are pretty close. I think they're identical in AC. Because I think the mediums, the splint, is it splint? Whatever. The medium scale, right, is like 16 plus you get your 2 dexterity, which gives you 18. And the heavy is 18, but you get none of your dexterity. I think there might be a little difference in like damage mitigation, because the heavy gives you like reduces all damage taken by like by 2, which makes it good for like you can take jumps that would normally take 2 health off you, and it subtracts that damage too. So I do the heavy mainly because you always even if you don't need it, you can sell it, and it's the most expensive. And it's also super readily available. It's right here. When we jump across this chasm here, we will pick it up, and we will basically have both the molds we need, and now we just need to mithril. I come up here to check the bookshelf and the chest. Sometimes they have some good scrolls. Here I get not upset with a bloodlust potion or bloodlust elixir, or a resistance elixir that I'll be able to trade or utilize my arcane cultivations that I eventually pick up. I put protection from good and evil on. This is not necessarily needed for. I always think that these guys are undead, but they're not. I forget that they're constructs, right? And so this is the fight that I would bring the 2 Susser flowers for, right? I would sneak up behind these guys, disable them, and then I would go disable the other archer and 1v1 the guy on bottom, then kill the archer, and then kill these 2 while they can't move. But because I didn't think of it like that, I engage this normally, and it is a significantly more involved endeavor. Going through inventory before we enter this fight. Like I said, it can be a bit of a scary fight. Send some stuff to the camp. There, when I'm debating on whether or not I use Falar Eluve and try to like shriek it, and then sort of blast one of these guys down with a psychic spark, short magic missile. But in the end, I decide not to, because like the setup would be too much, right? Like it's you have to be so far away, do the full setup, and then you have to manage to get over there, right, and get into the fight. Like if I did anything, because the fight's already started, if I did any prep up there where I'm at, I would be instantly in the fight. So we don't have a whole lot of choice here, still, but it's very, you know, it's a harrowing encounter this way, right? I'm trying to impose disadvantage on the marksman. He won't move. But I don't believe he runs away. However, I know that I have a melee guy here. The melee guys do significantly more damage, so I'm trying to get rid of him. And then the other melee guy is coming, so I'm trying to. Ideally, what I do is kill this first melee guy before the other melee guy makes it here, and I'm having my familiar shovel impose disadvantage on the other. What do you call it? Construct. The other ranged one. We missed both. I think both of our attacks. Into this setup, which is not exciting, right? Like, if we had hit both, right, we should be close to killing this guy. Shovel lasts a whole round, which is more than I ever could have asked for. He probably could have stayed there. He'd tank one hit, and he wouldn't impose disadvantage anymore because it would one tap him and then shoot at me, right? It would basically save one attack to me. So I try to get him out of there so that I can, because I want to use him to proc the magma methods. Sticking to the plan here, and just cranking the AC if at all possible. With the this setup, I believe I should have like 22. I think I have like 22 AC. And we got crit. Now this is one of the things that having crit immunity is important for. Supposedly, if you have crit immunity and somebody rolls a crit and it beats your AC, then you'll take damage. But it just isn't double. If you have crit immunity and your AC is higher and it doesn't hit, then they re-roll it until it's not a crit, right? So like their 20 can't work, right? I've seen a bunch of things claiming that, you know, they, and I'm not entirely sure that it actually re-rolls, to be completely fair. What I have seen is, or in my runs, I don't think I ever get to a point where like it's mathematically impossible for them to hit me. There are some areas where like certain enemies are mathematically impossible to hit me, and they just never do, right? But so the conception or the idea is that if your AC beats their hit rating, and it's impossible for them to actually hit you, even with a natural 20, then the crit immunity then basically they just can't ever hit you, and then as long as you have crit immunity, then they can't hit you, period. Right? The idea around that is that if they roll a 20 and you have crit immunity, they're supposed to re-roll it and until it's not a crit, until it's basically a 19 or lower. And in my combat logs, that didn't happen. I'll have crit immunity on, and then they'll roll a 20, and if their total beats my AC, right, I end up taking this half damage. So I don't think that's quite how it actually works. Here we obviously got trucked a little bit, and so we're going to go ahead and sacrifice shovel, even though we were going to try to wait on that. We do finally get a hit on that guy. I think it applied the curse and gave us some temp hit points as well. Or give us some healing, because we heal from killing something with our curse. We sacrifice shovel, and this guy, you know, he just it's too good. But we do have our gloves on to remove his damage if he does hit us at least once. So now it's just a matter of keeping disadvantage on this guy and making sure that these two don't kill me. Like that, right? Like that guy could murder me. He dropped my Shield of Faith, so my AC is lower. This guy's gonna hit me, but I think I should have reacted to that. I was trying to save it for shield in case I really needed it for the other guy, but I'm posing disadvantage on this guy that's closer. So I really should have just let him or done the missile snare. Here I get smarter and I go, oh, okay, so both archers, let's missile snare and then move forward. Now, I did take damage if that guy trucked me with both attacks. I'm a little worried about this fight, if you can't tell. I keep, after the end of my round and when they're going, I keep adjusting the, you hear this sound cut out, and that's because I'm jumping to my process window, right? Getting ready to close it if I proc my relentless endurance off of the orc racial, because that gives me, you know, like I took enough damage to stand back up, right? Or to die, and then I stand back up with 1 HP. If that happens during that animation, I have to cancel the entire thing, or cancel the process. Otherwise, I won't be able to save scum / relentless it, or / reset it. With other races, you would just have to be like, you'd have to make a better decision, right? Like you'd have to be like, if this got to like 25% and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get murdered, right? Like you would just reset early. Go ahead and toss him into the lava.
These boots have seen everything.
And then pose disadvantage, and from here forward, like we're fine. We're set. We don't care if we miss. Using small potions because they're not gonna change much. Or we don't expect him to hit us, and if he does, we'll missile snare it, right? So like, we're pretty okay. It's a little bit much, right? I don't need to be going crazy there. I didn't need all that for that one attack, but I think I had missed the attack or two before, and I was like, I'm not missing again. I was also okay with setting the charge, right, or my oath charge, because I'm gonna need to a short rest before I do the magma methods, because I need shovel to be able to proc them. If you're on a wizard or something or a sorcerer like a spellcaster with mage hand, you can use mage hand to proc them. But, and I guess you have to be on some sort of like spellcaster type in order to have shovel become your like familiar type thing as well. Now we've got our first mithril. It should be magma method time, and this is the fight that scares me the most. You can sort of trivialize it with bombs, like you can prep a fire area or fire surface, and then minor illusion them all together, and then throw a bomb on the fire surface, and it blows up and kills all of them. And you can do that for the first wave, second wave. think that's the way I do it here. Because if I remember right, this is messy. This is a messy first setup. We go invisible. We should attack the air, which will pull him out of his invisibility, cause him to be surprised, and start the fight. I don't have any smoke powder bombs. I have the one smoke powder piece there, but I don't have any like standard smoke powder bombs. Which is what I think I'm after. Yeah. If you don't know, when you buy from a trader, the first bomb that you buy from a trader can bug out. But if you send it to camp and then send it back, then you should be fine. So that's why those were in camp rather than in my inventory. I don't know how he survived that long. He should have been dead a long time ago. And there goes the bomb. Or this is sort of like the prep that I was talking about. You set up a fire surface, and then you minor illusion them close, and toss a bomb into it. You don't toss it at them. I should have paused time before I threw the bomb. Like an idiot, I didn't, which is why this gets messy. Magma Miffins aren't scary, really, in melee. If you had fire resistance, they're super not scary in melee because their breath doesn't do much, etc. But their heat metal option sucks. You can sort of limit it with fire resistance as well. You definitely don't want to get surprised. That's awful. Especially with these guys and their explosion on death, which will hurt you and your party, but not them because they're immune to fire or whatnot. Right? It's just a wicked combo. Now I've messed up big time because my fire surface has gone away. These guys are mainly still alive. I think I have a wing and a prayer here, which is to like hit those far four with a smoke powder bomb, and hopefully it naturally does enough that they blow up, or that they die. And then I have the two underneath that I would then have to deal with. But some of these guys are not in the initiative order, and some of them are. So that becomes a problem for me logistically, because like when I use minor illusion, if I hit the minor illusion, right, and they fail their check, right, they don't fly over to it in time for before the free guys, the guys who are not in initiative order, get to basically like dissolve the illusion, right? From passing their check, and so like I can't ever group up the guys I'm in initiative order with. So this is a mess. This is an absolute mess, right? The best way to do this is to toss the alchemist fire on the ground, minor illusion them over into it. When they're all close, you pause time, and then throw the bomb. If you do it that way, you set yourself up for success. Here, because I did the arrow shoot, right, I am now visible, and this guy's going to start with heat metal, which sucks. It absolutely sucks. You see me checking how far back I would have to go if I have to reload this. And yeah, the sound cuts out. I'm in the process manager. I'm waiting for this to absolutely screw me. Right? I'm sitting at, 60% health. Right? Like, it's not too many heat metals that I've got left in me. Right? If I melee kill one of these guys, he explodes for fire damage on top of me. This is an Invisa run. This is a get out moment for sure.
What path lies before me?
And we get out. We get the reset. But these guys have weird AI. They don't have a special tether or whatnot, right? Like my reset is gonna be fight these guys up here, right? Which will also probably have the other guys. So in we go. Now I think we get the surprise round. Yeah, we get the surprise round for doing it this way, which means that we get to engage on them. The other one, or the other way, we don't get a surprise round because they're like too far away. We don't get into that, etc. Now we have the smoke powder that we pulled from Barkus' backpack, and that takes care of these four. And now we have these the other two to worry
Another
about.
step forward.
We try to give him as much movement requirement as possible, but they have good movement and fly. But he takes a weird path, an absolutely awful path to get to us. And this one I think goes and hunkers under the bottom, which is fine because that lets us 1v1 this guy up top, and then we can come back down and 1v1 the other guy. We crouch and move over here, hoping that he doesn't spawn us with his vision as he comes by, and then makes it to our ghost over there to inspect it and not see us. This should allow him to come out of combat, but he saw us in his scans, but he'd already dashed, I think, to get there. So we're set. Now we're okay with getting our hands dirty. Like the melee doesn't matter. And here, I think we can run away from him. Take the attack of opportunity, but and let him die to Booming Blade. But for some reason, I stay in it. That's my hubris right there. Getting the best of me. Now this guy's stuck down there, right? So this is like infinite. Like he's gonna pass his turn, I pass my turn, as long as like I stay over there and whatnot. But we want to get this fight over. Kind of want to just wait and jump this fire each time and make him come to us. And now that we're close, I believe we can attack him. As you can see, there's still one or two down there that are not in initiative order. There we go. Did a little bit of damage. We switched to melee before we wait for him, so that if he does fly up here, we well, we're just practicing habits because we don't have Polearm Master yet. But once we have Polearm Master, we want to basically always end our turn on our melee weapon, so that in the event that they come into range, we're able to go ahead and smack them. If we don't switch to our melee weapon before that happens, then we end up not being able to utilize the opportunity attack for them coming inside of our range. Of course, heat metal. I hate it. And he did it on, but somehow he was able to target my chest piece rather than my weapons and whatnot, like normal. And here we're just gonna try and clean these guys up. We get one. Hopefully get the other one. Done. Very nice. Super messy, right? Definitely not the way you want that to go. You can clean that up quite a bit. But at the very least, we got through it and didn't die. Now we can collect our second mithril, and ooh, blur? Was it blur?
Maybe I need more pockets.
Potion of fire resistance that comes all too late. And away we go. Now we're ready. We do not fight Grim naturally or normally, right? We're going to go ahead and fight him from with Minor Illusion and do it that way. Specifically because fighting him at this level, at this point in time, would be suicide, and even fighting him on level is sort of crazy. And away we go. So we load the mold, we load up the mithril ore, we shoot the hammer so it pushes it down. We jump up on top before it goes down, and now we can shoot the valve to release the lava, which will also release Grim. And now we just need to get in combat with Grim. We should pass turns until it gets to right underneath us, and then Minor Illusion up onto the, or above the, just above or on the bed. Here I do the Minor Illusion early, he runs over, but he still has too much movement speed by the time he kills the cat to then turn around, and so like, you just have to pass and be like, okay, get all the way over here, and then put it up there. And now he should have only enough movement speed to get there and then like turn around. I think I didn't put the cat far enough, so I still try to catch him with it, but I don't think it works. And I apparently I realized that it wasn't gonna work, or thought it wasn't gonna work, so I just passed early before the hammer dropped. So the cat really has to be sort of like in the lava above or just beyond where the hammer's going, or that center hammer piece. Now, depending on how much damage the hammer does to him on the first one, you can get the methods possible. In this one, we did. So all you have to do to prevent the methods from coming after you is run up during their surprise round, right? Run up the stairs. If you don't run up the stairs, you have a chance that they will target you at the top of the stairs with some of the methods, rather than going to him. So to sort of like alleviate this, I also crouch, go into stealth, and move forward. It makes it so like going and searching for the guy who disappeared is not worth it to the AI. I guess it's not AI, but to the computer, right? And they move forward. Yeah, it's not true AI. It's more like the program went up. And then here, this should be just a bunch of turn passes until all of the methods are gone. Kill him faster, Grim. It's actually not bad. I think that's what he killed a bunch of them on that first one with like one slam. So like 3 rounds to kill all the methods. That's actually pretty good. Now we need him to come back to us, which means we probably need to unstealth, but he happens to be on top of the hammer anyway. No, it didn't work. It didn't work. He was not close enough. Now here we're in that same scenario where like he's probably got too much movement, right? My bet is that he kills that cat, turns around and walks out. Yeah. And I should realize that and be like, okay, we just have to reset this. Grim, you very, very picky bitch. Now he should. I'm trying to figure out if he saved from that cat. And I think he did. He saved the minor illusion. So we have to do it again. And be like, Grim, stop it. There you go. You need to fail, always. You're not smart enough to know it's an illusion. And now it's hammer time. And now we just repeat that cycle. We let him come to us. I should just be passing here. I don't know why I crouched. Right? Crouching screwed me there. Now we put the it's literally just you're gonna pass a turn, he's gonna stand up. Then you pass that turn, he's gonna walk to you. You minor illusion during once he's at there, and you pass that, and he walks back, and you hammer. Repeat that process over and over and over again until he's dead. And the only time you have to move from that process is for the magma methods, right? You only have to move once so that they get locked into combat with him. Not the cleanest Grim fight, not the most like showcased right fight, but again, it works and he dies. So we get to collect our XP, our gear, and did we level up? Yeah, we leveled up. So now we get to be level 5. I've tried shooting the button to bring the platform back up. It doesn't work for me, or hasn't worked for me. So Featherfall drop. Since we did the if we didn't have the scrolls, we would have the boots from the Arcane Tower, and we go ahead and pick up our shield. And now we should eject the previous mold, put in some new mithril, and craft the second item. Oh, we made the armor, not the shield first. Having both of them is a pretty nasty combo, especially in the early game, because it basically means that if they hit you, they take 2 turns of reeling, and if they miss you, they take 2 turns of reeling.
May the gods take you first.
So you get to impose negatives to their attack rolls quite a bit, which can be big in 1v1s, right? If you have an enemy that you're fighting on one-on-one with the gloves of power, right? Because that also applies Bane, and then obviously in groups, right? We're still using our gloves, but we should trade them out, right? I believe we are looking to get the Troubadour gloves for the +1 AC, which I think we forget here. We also bring the platform back up so that we can get the lava elemental later. That's important to note because in this run, I completely forget about doing the lava elemental when I go through and like recollecting XP and whatnot. So I end up not having the monk necklace for Act 3, and that's just a part of the run that I totally spaced and forgot. It doesn't break the run, it doesn't make it not possible, but it does mean that there's no showcase in this particular run for how to deal with the lava elemental. Here, I think we're happy, and we're good with getting that done. We're gonna go do some shopping, stock up on some scrolls, some hill giant potions. Yeah, because we got the level up, so our vendors have restocked, and that's more important because we're not able to long rest at the moment.
Need anything else?
Because if we long rest, we'll trigger our tadpole scene, and we need to get Priestess Gut killed. Since we're now level 4, we have 2 attacks per round. Since we're now level 5, we should have Polearm Master, which gives us 2 attacks per round when you count the bonus action, which with haste gives us 3 attacks per round. So should give us enough to sort of like blitz down an enemy. But since we can't reset our stuff, we want our spell slots. Now, the easiest way to reset our spell slots would be to go back to camp and just respec. But we are trying to avoid that as much as possible, even though that is the rationale we use for allowing ourselves to buffer spells to elongate our long rests.
Take care now, sweet.
I try to make these builds work without respecing, right? So that you could do them in a normal playthrough, or your own playthrough, where you're not trying to like optimize out the respecs or optimize out the long rests, and when this cutscene happens, etc. And so that they just work. Here I realize I never picked up the Luminous armor, and I think I'll also realize that I didn't go get the Troubadour gloves. So I'm just realizing like I've made a mess out of my my pathing expectation. And the luminous armor, you can sort of like break things in the game. Not necessarily break them, but you can sort of use the like smites, right, and the buffering. So you could buffer your smite attack to cause radiant orb damage to happen to a character, and then it propagates, right? But if that character, like if you're fighting level 5s that already have 2 attacks, they're going to remove every stack of Radiant Orb every round. So it doesn't quite loop properly. You get the raise of the smite itself. It is, however, non-disadvantage for stealth, so it's better than Githyanki armor. Clean out Blurg, and then we should clean out Dareth, and then I believe we remember that we screwed up and didn't get the Troubadour gloves, and we'll head back to Grimforge to go get those.
Will be no point in lingering now I've got the noble stock.
I'm picking up potions of vaulting. Don't need them, right? I generally don't use them. Don't put them in my hotbar, and I forget that I have them. Similar to the potions of Featherfall, because I generally always have scrolls, and scrolls are lighter than the potions anyway. You could do either or. But I'm a bit of hoarder for decent stuff, right? Decent materials and whatnot. And then only when my carry weight forces me to send stuff home do I do that. There's the raspberries that I never use, and the gruel, which also counts as a out of combat healing item that you can eat, or even in combat. It counts as like a free action to eat, and I don't use them. I'm done. I don't have bless on. I don't need them to like cause a buff before my attacks and things, right? Like I should just send them to camp or not pick them up on this character. Probably send them to camp. Let them do that, but I carry them for the whole run. They just stay there.
Need something else?
What do you got, Ro? Anything? Just restock? Oh, we got a cultivation, which is nice. It means we can refill some spell slots. Steal all our gold.
Pleasure.
Now we should be, we should be looking at getting Priestess Gut killed, and we went, oh, yeah, we forgot the extra AC for these. Now it's not necessarily needed for Priestess Gut, but it is for Flynn, right? We ideally want this extra AC for Flynn because we want to AC max the heck out of ourselves before we fight that whole pack of gnolls. And we know we're going to have to fight the whole pack of gnolls because we utilized our Illithid Wisdom on the Nautiloid, and we haven't been able to long rest because we've been locked in this terrible scenario where we can't long rest and we already used our Illithid power. we are not able to even do the first part where we tell her to, attack, the Illithid connection, and then tell her to attack the other gnolls, right? So we don't even have a chance to do that, and we don't have a chance to have her consume herself. Now, like I said, we wouldn't make her consume herself, but we would happily have her fight the whole pack of gnolls, and like while we hide and pick off any stragglers that come to play with us rather than her. And she does work, absolute work, right? Almost one-shotting basically like everything she like looks at when it comes to gnolls, right? Like it's she does good work. But then we would 1v1 her, and that can be tough. If she paralyzes it gets real rough. And now we're going for the Troubadour gloves. I believe I get bored, or am bored of fighting these things from range, right? They take like reduced damage and they're annoying. But they are also monstrosities, which is a bonus for us because we have the monstrous glaive, which allows us to do extra damage to monstrosities.
Looks like the place the Dark Justicia's letter mentioned.
So I think one of the things we do is swap ourselves over. If you don't want to do it and you want to do it safer, you get to this rock, you go up to the top. I usually put like a candle down and dip your weapon in the candle for fire damage. You click on the top of the rock with a left click, and then you right click when you get to the top of the rock. It'll force you to stop on it before having actually like walked down to the before having made the walk down the rock, right? And then so you can basically see over the traversal area. I might showcase that here. I think I'm making the choice, right? I'm looking at it going, wait a minute. I have a way to deal with monstrosities. This is another way you can do this. Like I said, I've been using the archer method for so long that I'm just like it's just saving time by killing them faster, because they can't hit you at all. But they can hit me here, but they can't hit you at all if you go up the rock. Here I'm checking their like proficiency, like what their attack modifier is, to see if it's even like statistically possible for them to hit me at all. And finally, I just decide to YOLO. There's our beautiful polearm master in action. Monstrous Glaive being a polearm or a glaive, right, does allow us to utilize its function, and then we just sort of like stand in and let these guys try. Let them have it. I think there's a close call eventually. I think one of them gets a bite or something like that. My Shield of Faith drops. But we do have Gloves of Power on. We are applying Bane to each one of them that we hit, which means we should separate out our hits. To continuously apply Bane. That's one down. Next one. Yeah, he hits hard, but we maintain our Shield of Faith, and he's hit us twice, so you gotta go away. We could, in theory, like run away for the booming blade damage, but rather than take extra attacks of opportunity, we just stand in and let it happen. If you got unlucky and like 2 or 3 of these things hit you at the same time, that could definitely, or in the same round, that could definitely set you back. Probably should just use a greater heal potion here. I should have done the hits first, right? While I had the Leviathar's Love. In theory, the better turn there would have been to attack with Leviathar's Love. So I hit, or virtually guarantee the hit, and then utilize like a greater healing potion on my bonus action and just continue from there. But
Very well.
now I'm trying to utilize the booming blade damage. And the fight's done. Now all we want is the Troubadour gloves. We don't need the +1. And since we're here, we'll go ahead and finish the Char quest here. We interacted with the skeleton over by where the mare gun is, and read that letter on his corpse. Or on his skeleton, which allows us to sort of, it doesn't allow us anything, we can do all of what we just did regardless, but it does sort of like progress that little quest chain. And it has some XP attached to it if you catch the Luminous, I think. And then here we are just having a time of it. Pickpocketing, or not pickpocketing, lockpicking was not my friend on this run. I think I almost run out of lockpicks in Act 3. I'm going to read that and gain any experience that we can. With Troubadour's Gloves acquired, we should be ready to take on the Glut and Flynn fights, but we will save those for the next episode. So, a little bit of prep, but, first run through Grimforge, getting some XP, getting level 5, taking out Grim. Pretty good overall run. Messy fights, for sure. But hope you enjoyed the content, and if you did, I will see you in the next one.